Hello everyone, hope you all are doing great. So welcome back to my channel. Today we'll talk about 8 lords in all the houses in our horoscope. But before that, let us understand the 8th house. Generally, if we say 8th house, we know this is the house of death, this is the house of suffering, pain. I know those are there, but if I to explain to you, 8th house is a sutra, or in one line, I would say this is the house of the spider bite that made Peter Parker the Spider-Man that he became. Basically, in other words, is to simplify, it is the house of hidden powers. The hidden powers or a hidden potential that a human being, a person is having. No, I'm not trying to romanticize the darkest of all the dark houses. Just I'm trying to see that, of course, this is the house of that secret elixir house. But this house being a first grade malefic house, first it will give you pain, first it will take something from you, then only it will give you some of the fruits of it. But if you suppose the villain of the 8th house has come to take something from you and you voluntarily give it up, I mean, like, okay, take it. So then it becomes very easy. You have already pacified the negative aspects. So we will learn everything. But sorry. But if you want to just jump to your placement, you are happy to do so. But I would request you to come back and listen to this fable I'm going to say, this story, and also the keywords, because it will give you a wholesome view and wholesome understanding of your 8th house. So buckle up, let's begin. So this is the fable, this is a story of a donkey who fell into a water well. I think many of you already know this story, this is very popular, but let me just briefly say it. So in a village, a donkey fell into a water well, okay? And that water well, it was a deep, dark water well. Now the villagers thought that what should we do? The donkey was crying in pain and agony, it was whimpering. The villagers thought we won't be able to fetch the donkey out of the water well. There is only one option. We can make the donkey have a peaceful death. So they thought they will just throw some dirt and mud into the well and bury the donkey, and that how the donkey will have a peaceful death. That was their intention. With that intention, they started throwing dirt and mud. The donkey was already in a dark well, just think about it. And something external force was hitting the donkey. It started crying more and more loudly. But something unexpected happened. The donkey, whatever the mud was thrown at the donkey shook it off and hopped and stepped onto it. And the villagers repeatedly went on throwing those mud onto the donkey, into the well. And with every mud that fell and hit the donkey, it shook it up and stepped on it. It went on in circles in repeated loop. And at one point, after a significant time, the villagers were shocked to see the donkey climb out of that well. So basically, in other words, if I say you, what was meant to kill the donkey, bury the donkey, became the very thing that the donkey rose on. Like if you have seen like in the stage performances of celebrity dancers, they rise from that underneath of the stage in a pop-up stage lift. So it was like the donkey also rising like that. So this is like the very core theme of 8th house, because 8th house talks about pain and also power. But power won't come to you until and unless you transform that pain. Like Kurt Cobain used to say, I think it was Kurt Cobain only, that pain is the secret sauce for creativity. Like Taylor Swift, who is this pop singer, this huge pop sensation, wrote all her painful breakup songs and everything, and that's how she is what she is today. So 8th house talks about that pain to power, but it won't happen without transformation. You have to transform it. Now coming to the 8th house keywords, of course, like if I tell you in a thumbs down, there's a crow outside. That's an omen today, because today moon is in Magha. And I thought I'll make a video on Magha, but I don't know, I need to make a video on Magha. The crow is telling me. So yeah, we know that as a downside, that is, 8th house is pain, misery, suffering, depression. But the upside, that is transformation. How? That we'll talk about. It's basically becoming the butterfly from the caterpillar. Apart from this, generally if you see that a person saying that 8th house, someone is having a strong 8th house, That means they say it is sexual energy, but sexual energy is the lower octave of the 8th house. I'll tell you what's the higher octave of this. That is Kundalini energy. People say it's sexual energy, but in reality, that is Kundalini energy. Kundalini energy is the energy of transformation. It's the energy that transforms your ignorance, whatsoever you're having, to awareness. I'm not going into the specific Tantra part, but for a layman like us, like it's from whatever you're ignoring and you're trying, more than the outside world, it's having our own ignorance, that bulb lighting up, and awareness. Also, if I had to say which subjects are related to the 8th house, of course, astrology, occult, these are there. But anything that needs deep research is also in the domain of the 8th house. Be it archaeology, be it anthropology, even taxation, chartered accountancy is seen, the audit, machine learning, data analytics, everything is in the domain of 8th house. In fact, surgeons, like doctors, we see from 6th house, but a surgeon who cuts and does all these things, that is 8th house. And detectives, of course, detectives we see from 8th house. These are the main professions. In fact, suppose someone is working in a manufacturing field, because that is mining underground, that is also 8th house. Now, 8th house, I will give you 2-3 more keywords. That is extremism. 8th house talks about extremism because in Kalpurush Kundli, that is 8th house is the house of Scorpio. And who is the co-ruler of Scorpio? That is Ketu. Ketu is a very extreme planet. It's like, let me give you an example. It's either 0 or 100. Either this person will be like, I'll go on a trip to London, I mean like in this summer vacation, or I will just keep myself in house arrest. That kind of extremism it talks about. And also this is the seat of intuitive intelligence, not like analytical intelligence, intuitive. You just know it from your gut, because this also talks about the 8th house is our excretion, and that is very much related to the gut health and gut also. We see the gut from there. So it's like something that keeps from coming from your gut sense, that intuitive, because again Ketu is related, so it's like Ketu's channeling. And is there anything? Yeah, it is the deep-rooted emotions and the traumas that are stored. That's also 8th house. Like 4th house talks about the motherly, nurturing emotions. 8th house, the deep-rooted traumas and emotions. It also talks about the unearned money that people are having, be it from provident fund, gratuity, from inheritance, all this. These are the unearned money, even dowry. But in a negative way, it also talks about a person getting humiliated, humiliation, insults, these things. In a positive way, it talks about legacy, because only the 8th lord or 8th house can give you legacy. And also it also talks about your in-laws, because this is the second house, your own family, and second from your 7th house is the family of your spouse. That's why it talks about in-laws. I think I have talked pretty much. So wherever your 8th lord is sitting, now let's jump into it. Wherever your 8th lord is sitting, it magnetically, like a magnet, like magnetically is bringing the significations of that 8th house, the good, the bad, the ugly, the nice, everything to that house where it is sitting. With that, let's start off with 8th lord in the 1st house. So when I say 8th lord is in the 1st house, what is 8th house? We already know the pain, suffering, transformation, everything. It's coming and sitting on your head, or the whole of your personality right now. So these people have this tendency to self-hate themselves. They hate themselves because of all the mistakes they have done in the past, maybe. They don't know how to get out of the self-hatred. Like now the enemy, the villain, you become the enemy and the villain. But is there any way out, if you ask me? Of course. These people are also the people who go into self-inquiry mode. Like while the whole world is decoding data analytics, machine learning, and winning hackathon in analytics, these people are sitting there in their room. I had just had my lunch, sitting there in the room and decoding themselves. So I will always tell that these people, if you just learn astrology, then it will be very beneficial, because then you'll have a complete 180-degree transformation. Because astrology, you'll be decoding your one placement after another, one conjunction after another, and that way you will be decoding yourself. This will prove very beneficial for people with 8th lord in the first house. But these people are very, very intuitive, because again, it's like Ketu sitting on top of your head. And these people are also very charismatic, because it's a sexual energy in the lower octave, in the higher octave, because they become that from ignorance to awareness, they can reach very easily if they actually tune into it. Very charismatic, because they are carrying that all sexual charm in their whole personality. So this is a good placement if you can align. I would always say just learn astrology to decode yourself, not to decode others. You can decode others later on. It's like once you decode yourself, you know the route to decode yourself, then you can decode anyone and everyone. So I think that's the placement. I think, yeah, everything I have said. If there is anything left, I will add in. Now coming to your 8th lord in the 2nd house. Now just think, the 8th lord is the villain. The villain is coming to a family gathering of yours. 4th house talks about your immediate family with whom you are staying day in and day out. And 8th house is your extended family, mama, masi, bua, everyone. Okay, so when it comes, so it is there to cause rift and problem in your family. Now what you do? You say, okay, 8th lord, you are coming to my family. You want me to separate myself from my family, so I will just myself cut myself off from my family. How will I do so? During the Mahadasha or the Antardasha of 8th lord in the 2nd, then you just voluntarily shift away your base from your family, because then the 8th lord comes and there is nothing the 8th lord can do. It is generally said that people with 8th lord and 2nd have problems in their money, in their wealth, because there is a topsy-turviness, up and down. I would say that, of course, it is there, but these people stand a chance to actually gain wealth from astrology, any occult subjects, any hidden field, and archaeology, all, I mean, like all the hidden ways they can. In fact, these are the people who can get dowry also. I mean, like dowry is, we shouldn't be encouraging dowry, but these are the people who can get dowry. Also, I would say that if you want to keep, suppose you're starting a business, if I had to guide you on that, don't use your own money, use some unearned money. You can reach out to angel investors, crowdfunding, because then it will be very beneficial for you to start your business with someone else's money. And to actually have this up and down in your wealth, try, I would say, try investing and donating. Okay, that will help a lot to pacify your 8th lord in the 2nd house. Now coming to the 8th lord in the 3rd house. So 3rd house is a very special house, I think, because it is the 8th from the 8th. If 8th house is your transformation, 3rd house is the bap of your transformation. Jokes apart, 3rd house is your somatic transformation. It's the 8th house transformation you can see with naked eyes, kind of thing. Not always. What am I saying? Not always you can see from your naked eyes, because 8th house is the invisible house. What you can see is, I'm lost. Yeah, what you can see, now coming to the 8th lord in the 8th house. Sorry, now coming to the 8th lord in the 3rd house. So 3rd house is a very special placement. The 3rd house is 8th from the 8th house. If 8th house talks about transformation, then 3rd house talks of transformation of transformations. That is, like in Kalpurush Kundli, the 3rd house is Gemini, ruled by Mercury, the first Rashi ruled by Mercury. Mercury rules our neural networks, our nerves. So 3rd house talks about somatic transformation that happens at our nervous system level. Like if you remember that movie Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, so some memories were deleted, new memories were put into it. It was like a total revamp of subconscious programming. That is the 3rd house kind of transformation. And from 3rd house we also see the words of a guru, because 9th house is guru. When the guru is speaking, then it's the 3rd house. It's the opposite, bang on opposite. So these people can seem to gain from a guru's advice, be it in real life or in real life by social media. And these people can themselves, actually, if all the other placements are supporting them, these people can also become the person who can transform others, first transform themselves and transform others. There's this one particular person that is, he's a little controversial spiritual preacher, that is Osho Rajneesh. He has 5 planets in 8th house and 8th lord sitting in 3rd. So he used the media that time to preach about his own way of transforming. Also, yeah, this house is the house, 3rd house is the house of your younger siblings. So there will be some decay in the relationship, either in the bond with your younger sibling or in the life of the younger sibling. It will play out. You just can't say it's not playing out. But how to balance it? Now coming, how to balance it? These placement will be amazing if you are trying to work in social media analytics, social media field, because 3rd house is social media and deep research is 8th house. Like doing deep research, because I have seen people doing amazing in doing research work in social media and teaching about social media analytics. This works foolproof. You can do that. And 3rd house is also like communication is a transformation. Like I'm talking to you in YouTube, right? So I have this knowledge, I know how it works, I have seen it in charts, but when I'm trying to say it to you, I have to transform it in a different way and present it. So that is the social media transformation. They can also become a content creator, if not as a profession, if all the 2nd and the 10th house are not supporting, but as a hobby to pacify the 8th lord in 3rd. This could be one of the alignment. Now talking about 8th lord in the 4th house. What is 4th house? 4th house is the prime house of education. Okay. Also it's the house of your emotions, the nurturing, mothering emotions, also peace of mind. Now the lord of 8th house, that is your deep rooted traumas and emotions, are coming to the house of your peace of mind. It will hamper your peace of mind. It will hamper your bond with your family. So I will suggest this kind of people to work from office if it's feasible for you, and not work from home. As much as possible, go out and work, because the home atmosphere might have a topsy-turviness, up and down, so you align better with it. Also, 4th house becoming the prime house of education, these people can, for a hobby, to keep a sane mind, study psychology. Study as in as a hobby, learn about psychology, about Jungian psychology or any other branches of psychology that person pleases, even occult, trying to understand occult, any deep research oriented subject where the mind and emotions are involved. That will help them gain the peace of mind. If they are at home, that will help them gain the peace of mind. It will work beautifully. Okay, I think that's it for the 8th lord in 4th house. Now coming to the 8th lord in the 5th house. What is 5th house? 5th house is the house of your creativity, intellect, of your intelligence, of your buddhi. Now these people are like an overthinker of overthinkers. They are the bap of overthinkers. They can overthink everything, because your intelligence is now going up and down. It's going in a loop. It's just thinking, overthinking. I would say the best remedy for this kind of people would be if they can learn something new, some new learning, be it learning a new musical instrument, or learning to paint, learning to draw, or learning some spiritual subjects, like reading books on meditation and stuffs like that would be good spiritual. But the best remedy, best of best remedy would be to chant mantras, because they are having an overthinking mind. So chanting mantra in a loop, it will help them. I'm not saying that you have to take some specific mantra. You can do chanting of Om also in a loop, because that will help to calm their nervous system. And I would say that if they are listening to a song or something, they can, suppose they're trying to think something, this particularly works for me, although I don't have this placement. You put one particular song and put it on repeat loop, and then try to solve the problem you're having. then your attention won't be into that song. Your attention will be to solve that problem, because fifth house is the house of solution. And now coming to astrologers having eighth lord in the fifth, they can create amazing solutions and give amazing solutions to their clients. That will work perfectly, because this is the house of solution, and then they are giving solution with respect to the eighth house of occult. Brilliant placement. I mean, like, nothing can go beyond this. Also, in a lower octave, these people might have some romantic affairs which might not prove to be in their favor, and finally end up leaving them with a scar and transforming them. A romantic encounter becomes a reason for their transformation. But if it is happening, I don't want to sound artificial that way, but just know it's a soul contract. Everything is a soul contract, and just get over it. It's easy to say, but you have to make space and make amends with yourself and peace that it's done and dusted, and that will transform you in a way, because as I told you, 8th house won't give you anything before it takes something from you. Okay, now 8th lord in the 6th house. So 6th house, what is 6th house? 6th house, we say Rog, Rin, Shatru. Rog, disease, debt and enemies. Suppose for these people, any kind of disease comes to them, it comes for a long time. Any kind of debt that comes to them, be it a credit card debt, it comes for a long time. And they will, but there's one good thing about enemies, they will be able to win over their enemies. But who needs to win over their enemies? A person who is having enemies will need to win over their enemies. So you might think such a negative connotation you are telling me, but there's positive side also. If you know how to balance your 8th house, how to balance your 6th and 8th, this is like a boat and you have to just balance 6 and 8. Just always have a daily routine that you will stick every day, having that same routine and sticking to that routine. Whatever it is, even if the whole world is going through an earthquake kind of a thing, just for the sake of saying that we're saying. So just maintain that strict routine. And 6th house also talks about exercise. So keep an exercise for yourself every day, be it yoga, jogging, gym, whatsoever you want. A regular exercise and a fixed routine, and if possible, club it together. Go to your gym. If you go today at 8 a.m. every day, go at 8 a.m. Don't make it 8 a.m. Someday it is 10 a.m. Someday you skip it. Whatever is the weekend, just do it. And also avoid taking debt, be it credit card. Try to minimize your debt and don't use your credit card too much, because then it will become a problem. So these are the two things I would say for 8th lord in 6th house. Yeah, so if you go on doing this thing, the health will improve, your debt situation will improve, and your enemies will be like, okay, we'll leave you, because you're already exhausting the 8th lord in 6th house by going to gym every day. So that will work in your favor. Now coming to the 8th lord in 7th house. What is 7th house? 7th house is your spouse, partner, and 8th house is transformation, the pain. So after marriage, this kind of people see that their partners change 180 degree. They don't even know. I mean, like, is this someone I married to? I mean, like, they become confused. Either there will be sudden changes in your partner, or there will be a sudden transformation in your life after you get married. Either or. Depends on your other placement and how it is playing out as a whole script in your chart. But for these people, I would say that you can do one thing, one specific thing. Either way, there will be a surprise element in your life from your marriage and your partner. The best way you can align yourself with that, you go to that surprise. You voluntarily choose that surprise. Learning astrology as a hobby, together as a hobby, will be very beneficial to both of you. I mean, like, just decoding each other's placement. Okay, your sun is in 3rd, mine is in 6th. How it is working as individually. How is it working in our daily interaction? That way you can understand. I mean, like, that would transform. Mainly, astrology is seen from 8th house. Apart from being a deep research-oriented subject, like that unending well kind of thing, apart from that also, it is transformation. Like, a person who knows astrology and knows not as knowing and teaching and seeing charts, knows astrology for themselves, for their chart. No other astrologer can fool them, first of all, and they will be transformed. They will start accepting, okay, this is my period, so I need to stay calm, like this. So astrology can transform you, and these people, if they together go for astrology, it will work amazingly. Is there anything else I want to say about it? I think no. And if you marry someone who is having this eighth placement, that is eighth lord in seventh, marrying an astrologer or a surgeon or a scientist already pacifies it, because you are marrying into that eighth house. Eighth lord in eighth house, I would say that this is like Professor Snape sitting in his own dungeon classroom and experimenting on the potions. This is like these people are amazingly amazing in all research oriented jobs, because they are born with it. I would like to say that they are like the nepo kids of occult research field, anything that needs a deep probing kind of thing. I know nepo kid that way, it's a triggering and overloaded word, but it's like basically they can easily transform themselves, whatever is the situation or the pain they are getting, they can transform and rise very easily onto that, hop onto that pain and transform that into power. There is this particular book, the Graveyard Book, by this author Neil Gaiman. So there was this orphan kid who was raised by ghosts in a graveyard because his mom and dad died. So it's basically like being raised by ghosts. So that kid was not afraid of ghosts, right? Because he was raised by ghosts. So it's like that eighth house energy. So the eighth house is inside you very much. So it's like you only. So you are not afraid. You are the god, you are the angel, and you are the demon. So what are you afraid of? It's like Slytherins. Just think about it's a cold, harsh winter, and only the Slytherins know how best to survive in the cold dungeons. So that kind of a thing. Now, if eighth lord is going to a ninth house, what is ninth house? Ninth house talks about our father, our guru, our luck. So in a negative way, your father might face some humiliation or some insults, because it's after all the eighth lord. And also, like, these people might complain that their luck is not supporting them. It's not that their luck is not supporting them, it is basically that their luck is very erratic, having a will of its own. Like some day it's working on in their favor, some other day it is not. So these people shouldn't bet too much on their luck. So that should be one thing. Also, finding a guru or a mentor becomes a little challenging, because they might run into some false guru, false mentor, who might, in a spiritual way or in an academic way also, this might cause problems. And suppose they want to flourish in their life, I would always say move out of your own birthplace, native, if you want your luck to favor. And if not moving out totally as a whole, try to take some long journeys, or from time to time. That will work in your benefit. It depends again how your script of the chart is working totally, but that is it. Now coming to the 10th lord in the 8th lord in the 10th house here. So these people will face some sort of what kind of say, in their karma. 10th house talks about your whole karma, whole work. So there will be some changes, some irritation in the workplace, because it's going the up and down volatility, the pain, misery is going into your karma. I would always say that change is the only constant for 8th house. That's the motto. So keep on changing, either your line of work, your domain, your companies, or anything. Because in your career, there should be a constant change. There should be some circulation. But I understand that's not something everyone can do. It's not possible. So what you can do is you can start a side hustle, like and be consistent on it also. You can start a side hustle, not from the point of view of earning some money. I mean, of course, money will come if you provide value. But to balance out your first main profession, you can start. And these people might also face some humiliation, some insult in workplace. So best thing they can do is keep on changing their line of work. Some form or the other of volatility should be there, or start of some side hustles, 1 or 2 side hustles after this one fails or this one kicks off, start of another. And yeah, when there is no movement in their career, then the 8th lord will be like, okay, now I have my bakra, I will try to like slaughter it. So please have movement. Now coming to the 8th lord in the 11th house, these people stand a chance to get a lot of money, lot of gains from inheritances or some unearned sources, even from astrology or any other form of occult. But they suffer only because of their desires. Because what is 11th house? 11th house is 6th from 6th house. It's very malefic in that sense. But why the house of gains and desires is malefic? Because desire is kind of a contract that you make with yourself. Like if that desire is not fulfilled, you won't be happy. So it becomes like a double-edged sword, and it's also giving you good things, it's also cutting off something. Also, 11th house talks about our social circle. So if your 8th lord is in 11th, please don't trust your social circle too much. Always maintain or have a pinch of caution when you are approaching, and don't tell your secrets to everyone out there, because then it will cause some topsy-turviness. I mean, like, keep it secret. Like for 8th lord in the 2nd, I would say that whatever wealth you are having, keep your wealth in secret and keep everything secret from your social circle, because that will help you in long run. Otherwise, there might come some backstabbing from the social circle. Now let us talk about 8th lord in the 12th house. What does 12th house talks about? If 1st house is you, 12th house is your exit. So doesn't it mean that all your problems of the 8th house are going to take an exit in 12th house? It is and it is not. Sometimes if it is malefic in nature, then it might mean that staying in hospital, staying in jail kind of thing. Not trying to fearmonger you, but you can expand your 12th house. I mean, like, wear out your 12th house, the 8th lord in 12th house, if you align with it. How to align? These people generally have very low social battery, because 11th house is 12th from the 12th house, and 11th house is talking about all our social circle. So they have very low social battery. They love isolation, this kind of people. I mean, like, 12th house and 12th house, we say it is bed pleasure. Not only in a sexual connotation, but bed pleasure could also be like laying down on your bed all day watching Netflix or just chilling and reading a book. So their social battery gets so down that they love to go back to their home and spend their time with themselves. This works beautifully for people who want to negate the bad effects of 8 and 12 connection by either doing meditation, yoga, staying in a monastery, for going for like the vipassana meditation for 10 days, 20 days. This works beautifully. And and yes, these are all. But there is one thing, that suppose this person moves to a foreign place. Foreign doesn't mean you have to cross the borders of a country. Foreign as in culturally foreign. Suppose someone from Mumbai going to Bangalore, that is different from Delhi to Bangalore, north to south. So Kashmir to Kanyakumari becoming. So that is also culturally different. So that also helps negate this house. And in foreign countries, these people can go through major transformation. I mean, like, they actually shed off the main layer of their personality, and a new other layer of identity grows for them in a foreign land. So that is it. 8th lord in all your houses from 1 to 12. Whatsoever I knew, I gave it to you. And in next series I will make all the other houses lord, if they are sitting in the 8th house, what does it mean? Okay. And maybe in the 3rd one I will make this one, that any planet sitting in the 8th house. So the main thing is that 8th house is negative. I'm not here to romanticize what I'm saying here, that 8th house lord or 8th house is the villain. It has come to take certain things from you. But it's not saying that I won't give you anything. It will give you certain things. But first, it will take. So before it comes to take from you, like snatch it from you, see, voluntarily give it. So that's it. I think, yeah, that's it. And I was requested a lot about Ketu videos, so those are also coming. I don't know whether I'll be able to make a Magha video today, because today moon is in Magha and I wanted to make one video about Magha. So yeah, stay tuned in. I will try to be as regular as I